What's up, Wildlings? Thanks for tuning in to episode lucky number 7 of the Sean vs. Wild podcast. It's your host here, Sean Thriller Smith. Today is Tuesday, February 14th, and for all of you young lovers out there, today's Valentine's Day. I just want to extend a heartfelt congratulations ahead of time to all of you that get engaged today. It is a hot time of the year for getting engaged. Me personally, it's going to be a hot time of the year to order a heart-shaped pizza for one and watch 13 going on 30. That's going to be a hot time for me. And as a special treat for our listeners out there, in lieu of a musical break on this week's episode, I, along with today's guest, Alyssa Mason, have carefully crafted and designed a Spotify Valentine's Day playlist. Yes, a playlist. It is going to be jam-packed with what we consider to be some of the best love songs of the past, of the present, across a variety of genres to perfectly set the mood for you and your loved one's sweet Valentine's Day makeout sesh, your VDMOS. Or maybe you're like me and you're gonna, you're going stag this year. You're flying solo for Valentine's Day. Put on some of these tunes, get your pizza party started, And as I said, my guest for today is Alyssa Mason. She is a fellow pop culture enthusiast, just like myself. She's an activist, a feminist. She was out there in Washington, D.C. for the Women's March on Washington. She's going to be discussing what it was like in D.C. that day. She's going to discuss being a woman living under the current political administration. She's going to be giving advice to everybody on what we can do to get involved and have our voices heard, and how to support our fellow Earthlings in these wild times. We're going to mention quite a few links in the podcast. All links that are mentioned will be listed in the show description for easy reference. So I'm going to have them all in the show notes so that way you know exactly where to go. And then for the second half of the show, we're switching things up and discussing today's holiday. We are going to be talking about the Valentine's Day do's and don'ts, the best and worst gifts. We disagreed on what was a good and what was a bad gift, what movies to watch. And with that, we're also going to weigh in on our favorite rom-coms. So, guys, you're going to be educated, and then you're going to be entertained all in the same episode. What more can you ask for? I can tell you what more I can ask for, though, and that is going to be maybe, I don't know, say a 5-star Meow Meow Beans rating on iTunes. Or maybe if someone wanted to hit a like or follow or subscribe button on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Stitcher, Google Play, Instagram, that would be a gift that would be sweeter than candy. So, yeah. Oh, and recently I have surpassed a huge goal of mine. I wanted to bring it up on the show. I broke 1,000 downloads for the show. So that was pretty cool. Set that goal. Nailed it last week with Jordan's podcast. So that was excellent. And the numbers just keep going and going and going. And all I can do is honestly and sincerely thank each and every one of you for tuning in, taking a chance on your boy. I could not have done it. Could not have done it without you, obviously. But I mean that sincerely. Thank you guys so much. And also, too, I could not have done it without Joe Brock here at Supernatch Studios. This guy has been, he put off doing his taxes. He put off highlighting his hair just to be in the studio day in and day out, putting in the hard-working man hours. He's booping the dials, slamming the noise gates, filing down the nuts, and giving the finger to the corned beef reverb pedals, all to make sure I sound good and that my mistakes are covered up. So, Joe, thank you so much. Big soda out to you, Joe. And allow me to share my heart-shaped pizza with you, buddy. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. Happy Valentine's Day. That's all for me today. Let's get wild. But I want to talk to you about 90210. Mm-hmm. Before we even get anywhere into the important meats and potatoes of the podcast. So we've been watching Beverly Hills 90210. You're on the first episode, or first season. Mm-hmm. I just finished the first season. I'm on the first episode of season 2. And what did you think about? I know where you are. I know where you are in
Mm-hmm.
the series. What did you think about what Mrs. Walsh has been up to?
Oh my God.
Can you believe Glenn?
Glenn coming in, that was like blindsided by that.
You think
Because they're the quintessential all-American family.
I know.
You know?
How can you do that to the Walshes? And he just comes in and he has his stupid photographer vest.
In his cargo shorts, and he just thinks that he can just take
snap
over.
photos of Mrs. Walsh outside of a Home Depot. How dare he? And as soon as I saw him, the camera, dead giveaway, but the vest, like the cargo vest.
What does he keep in there?
Film.
He has one camera
Probably
and no
has
assistant.
to have hundreds of rolls of film. You'll never know when you need to snap a photo.
And he was like, I'm going to shoot the kids too. I was
Yeah,
like,
I know.
okay, you're trying to move in on the whole family
Hey,
now.
the kids, they're going to see these photos. This is pre-Instagram. This is
right.
pre-Facebook. So the kids are probably, this is the only time that they probably have ever gotten their photos done. And they are going to love me, and I'll be their new stepfather. That's what Glenn thought, I think.
I'm really looking forward to this episode 10 you've been speaking of.
Episode 10, season 1. Guys, I'm not trying to spoil anything for you because I'm
Yeah, I
sure
don't
there are
want any spoilers.
hundreds of thousands of listeners out there that are like, man, I really have just need to get through season 1 of Beverly Hills 90210. But I will tell you, season 10, it's a season 10, episode 10, it's a game changer. That's
It's
whenever
got the twists that I don't even know yet.
this is when they decided to take their show and use it to deliver a message.
Well, but see, the thing is, there's already been a lot of messages, subliminal
messages.
or otherwise, in the other episodes. Like we see Steve is a racist subtly.
Steve
You know,
Sanders.
everybody hates Steve, and now we know why.
I'll tell you what, Steve, no, I'm not giving it away, but boy, Steve's character, you're going to hate him, but then they're just going to drop some Steve Sanders bombshells on you. And by the end of it, you're like, poor Steve Sanders.
I don't know
Poor,
if I'm
poor
going to
racist with the tightest, curliest mullet I've ever seen.
Yeah, and his polo shirt tucked into his khakis.
He's the fashion icon, Steve
Yeah.
Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the Sean vs. Wild podcast. I'm your host, Sean Thriller Smith. I am in the studio today. I'm at the Smithsonian. I'm not at the bar like I normally would be. I took some libations from the bar, and now I'm in the West Wing. We're going to try that out today. I don't even know if it's going to sound any
I like
different.
it. We got Michael.
Yeah, and by Michael, it's a cardboard cutout of Michael Jackson.
It makes me feel safe and, you know.
Yeah, right. If there's anything that is going to make me feel safe, it is definitely going to be Michael Jackson,
Life size.
life size from the Bad album, just overlooking this podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
But I'm in the studio. I'm with Alyssa Mason. Alyssa is a feminist, an activist, and she has opinions.
Yeah, I got a lot of them.
We're in 2017. The world is getting crazy. Things are happening. Things are changing. And I wanted to have her on the show. I want to be able to take these things that are happening and give a forum for people to discuss them and speak about them, because it's a wild world out there, as Cat Stevens would say. So, Alyssa, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I do want to just disclaim that I'm getting over a case of bronchitis.
Don't
so-
listen to her. This isn't how she would sound on any day of the week.
I also disclaim that while I am a feminist to the bone, I am only representative of myself and not all feminists and not all women and not all people my age, or I'm just one person with one set of opinions. So,
Well, we appreciate you being on the show
don't
to
want
give that one
anyone to
opinion.
think that I'm speaking for them, especially in feminism now in 2017. There's a lot of, well, you can't be a feminist unless you work, or you're not a feminist if you stay at home with your kids, or whatever, that people want to say makes you not a feminist. But really,
I feel like that's just life in 2017 in general. It's almost like
someone's
you have to
going to
make
attack
sure
you for everything that
you have to
say.
make sure. Yes, every single thing that you say has to be right on the money, because someone will find fault in it. I worry about that sometimes with the podcast, but then also too, I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to be like, man, Sean Smith is an excellent judge of character, or he's the person that
We're going to look to him for everything. Yeah.
for being perfect, because it's not, I'm just one guy, and I'm just having my friends on there to talk about what they've got going on. I try to, and I mean, I guess this is bad in general, but I try to remain somewhat, as far as a host goes on the show, neutral. Of course,
But intent is a big part of it too, because you can call someone by the wrong pronoun now in 2017. And as long as you're not doing it intentionally to be malicious or to be hateful, people accidentally say a lot of things, but if they're willing to take a step back and apologize, then, don't fault that person. Let's move on.
Right.
Okay. There's bigger fish to fry than that. Not to, demean that, because that is very important to some people, but there's a lot of things, like you said, going on in 2017.
I think it's all like social media related. I feel like people have started, the way that they've interacted on Facebook or social media is almost the way people have just started to interact in real life almost, where, somebody can make a great point on social media and misspell one word, and they're like, you know what, whatever argument you just made, invalid. You used the wrong there. So. Right.
And like grammar and a lot of that, not to get too political about everything, but I mean, I used to be a grammar, not Nazi,
an
alt-right grammar enthusiast. And, now it's just kind of like, people have a voice, and that voice may not be grammatically correct, but that doesn't devalue what they have to say necessarily.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are plenty of, brain surgeons out there that might have missed a question on
a question
on a test somewhere, but they're still surgeons.
Right.
So we might want to at least take something that they have to say.
Right. And even if you're not a brain surgeon, really everyone's opinion is valid, because that's what an opinion is.
Yeah.
But I think some people try to control how other people perceive things, and either side of the coin there is probably not a good idea to try to control people.
I agree. My biggest thing, or something that I always look at, or I see on Facebook a lot, is always, and you kind of touched on it briefly, it's always like, if you are this, then you can't be this. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, well, who makes that rule?
Right.
Who is it that judges, like, if you're not 100% ride or die, do everything by the book, you can't be whatever it is, mm-hmm. whether it is a feminist.
Well, you can't be a Democrat if you own a gun or
you
something.
You can't be a vegan if you do this, or you can't be a Christian, or you can't be, a guy that hosts a podcast, or whatever the case may be, if you don't do this. And it's just like, well, I guess that I think that I'm just like, who's the person that's going to judge this? Like, who is it? You just
and do you
like
want
Tupac.
to appeal to that person?
Yeah,
exactly.
You just got to be like Tupac, guys. Just only God can judge me. All eyes on me.
I think only Judy can judge me. Okay?
Only Judy can judge me. That's true. Do you remember Extreme Akeem? Do you remember him? When it comes to television justice, I think he had like a baseball bat, and like a professional athlete was like his bailiff.
No,
Extreme
I haven't
Akeem?
seen that, but I do.
This
I
was
don't have
years ago.
cable, so I have an HD antenna in my bedroom.
Okay.
And during the night court is in session a lot, and I never knew that, until I got
court.
this. Yeah, I knew it from cable,
Right.
But on this, it was a new thing to me, having this HD antenna and getting these local channels and getting to see the court that's in session in the middle of the night. It's pretty crazy.
Court is in session,
it's
guys.
always in session.
And speaking of court being in session, let's go ahead, and I'm going to jump in here because one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, not only because I've known you for a long time, just like most people that I have on the show, I've known you for a long time, but you were basically on the front line there. You did the women's march in Washington in January. Mm-hmm. And, for an event that big, I feel like I read a lot about it on social media, Facebook mostly, and I read a lot of articles, but it's one of those things that I feel like we'll probably never get 100% kind of what happened unless you were there. Right, so I wanted to have you on there because I'm curious how it really was, like how it actually was, and what your experiences were there.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of misrepresentations about the march floating around on social media. I try to, as much as possible, keep my Facebook not an echo chamber for only people that share the same ideals as I do. But I saw a lot of posts about basically that the march was only in coastal liberal quote unquote cities. That really wasn't the case. It was in DC, it was in Topeka, Kansas, it was in Antarctica. It was actually in 30 countries, all over the world, all continents, including Antarctica, participated in the march.
That's insane.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. They think it was just LA, New York, and DC, and that's really not the case. I mean, I saw pictures of women in Moscow with march shirts on under their shirts that they had to keep hidden, that they showed support for America. Women in China got together. Of course, they weren't able to march, but they got together in solidarity with the women. I mean, women and people from all over the world came together on January 21st, and not just to protest against our current administration, but also just to show that, there's a lot of us out there, and us not being just women, but women, men, gender nonconforming people, children, older people. Like, there's a lot of us who just believe in equality for all and human rights for all, and that women's rights are human rights, and that disabled rights are human rights, and LGBT rights. There's a lot of us, and so that was really cool to see that many people come together to make a statement.
Right. That's awesome. So did you just go, was it by yourself, or did you have a group, or?
Yeah, we had a group of 7 girls, ladies, women, traveled together. We caravan to DC. We were going to go to, we knew we wanted to do something. For me personally, the day after the election in November, I woke up heartbroken and betrayed, and I just felt I was like, I'm going to do something. I don't know what it is yet, and I found something about the Women's March that day. There wasn't a lot of information about it. I think at the time it was called the Million Woman March. They didn't have anything together yet. They just knew something was going to happen. So I signed up for an email newsletter that day and tried to get as much information as I possibly could. Eventually it became the Women's March on Washington. And like I said, 6 other girls and myself traveled to DC. Boy, was it an adventure to get there. The road trip from Louisville to Cincinnati to Uniontown, Pennsylvania. We picked up different ladies along the way. Got to D.C. We rolled into D.C. Saturday morning about 10 a.m., right before the march was going to start. And we saw the people flooding the streets that morning as we were driving.
I could only imagine, like, how could you even get into the city?
It was difficult, but traffic really wasn't that bad. And we all really didn't know what to expect because none of us had ever been a part of a protest or a rally, anything of this size. And they were expecting about 200,000 people to be there, and it ended up being closer to 1 million. So no one knew what to expect when we drove in there. But the amount of people that were smiling and waving and, not trying to make anyone feel excluded, it was an amazing feeling of unity with all those people there. Once you were in the crowd, you could try to hold your phone up and look around, but it was a sea of people any direction that you went. It was overwhelming in a good way.
That's crazy. That's awesome. I mean, I've been in big crowds before, but not anywhere close to 1 million people, and not for anything nearly as important, that's for sure, as this. I guess let me ask, just in general, I mean, I know why you're marching, but in the broader sense, like, what made you decide to march? What are the issues, the hot button issues that are driving you?
Sure. It really all starts for me as just being a fellow human on this planet in general. I am not religious by any means, but I do feel like, you have to treat other people the way you want to be treated. I think that the golden rule stands for everybody. It should anyway. And I was my grandfather had a really big impact in my life growing up, and he was a pastor. But he instilled in me from a young age that, the best thing you can do on this planet is to love other people and to help people in any way that you can. So for me, my passion in my job and my personal time is to help other people in any way that I can. So knowing that the Women's March was happening and that these people, me included, were all going to get together to start something, to start a movement of people that cared, people that loved, people that wanted to help others, I knew I had to be a part of it. So what I was marching for personally was not only just reproductive rights for women and LGBT rights and immigrant rights and disabled rights, but it was also just showing up to show that I care and I'm here and I'm listening, and I'll speak out for people that may not have a voice.
Right. Well, that's awesome. What do you think other people can do to get involved? Because it's a great thing. It's such like I said, it's just such a crazy time right now. And the more that we can come together instead of driving each other apart, especially with everything that's going on, the more we can come together, that's going to be the best thing that I think personally. Of course, this is just one guy's opinion that we can do. How can people get involved?
I think it really starts with what I've done and what the group of ladies that we went on the march. The whole drive home, we were like, okay, we did this. This was awesome. We made our posters. We walked. We marched. Feels great. But now what? Because it's not where it ends. We have to act locally, especially. So one of the things that we've done is held each other accountable to show up for things. When there's a rally in Louisville for immigrant justice or Muslims for love or whatever is going on locally that you can hold each other accountable for, get a buddy and say, look, we're going to make each other go to these things and show up to these things, because it's really easy. And I fall victim to it too. I'm at home with my Netflix and my Domino's pizza. Shout out to Domino's.
Domino's, if you're listening, if you want to sponsor any program out
Please.
there, Sean vs. Wild podcast would love to have complimentary, or you know what, I'll take a discount at Domino's pizza.
Sure, yeah, or just, yeah. When you're at home in your pajamas watching your Netflix and someone says, hey, we're going to this rally for, LGBT rights. Do you want to go? And you're like, well, I care about that. I post on Facebook all the time about it. But it's that next step of actually getting up and going and doing something. And it may not seem like a lot to go and show up to a rally or a protest, but at those events, there's usually a lot of information given out that you wouldn't get unless you were there.
Right.
So
that's kind of an ongoing thing just in general. I had a friend of mine that is like a professional fitness model. She was on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and she basically almost said the same thing about like fitness. Like, it's one thing to talk about it, but it's that thing that where you just have to get up and get out and do it, and you'll do it for yourself. And in this case, you'll do it for other people too. That's the hardest part, I feel, for everybody anymore, or at least for me, is just being able to find that willpower to, you can post about it and you can talk about it, but you got to be about it, and you got let me ask you, because I keep always saying like, oh, this is a wild time. This is a strange time. But let me ask you, for somebody, me, I don't know how to put this, but it's just like, me, I am.
No one's going to, I'm not going to politically correct
but I'm saying,
you
like,
anyway.
I'm like a straight white man. And it's one of those things where I have a lot of concerns for my fellow man, but I know, I don't know, and this sounds horrible, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not the one that's being oppressed. But as a woman, what is your perspective, just in general, on life right now, especially under the current
administration?
Reich?
Yeah. Well, really, like I said earlier, the day after the election, I went into my voting booth with my white pantsuit on, metaphorically, and was like ready to vote for that first female president. And I had such high hopes that, we just had Obama. Our country is on the up and up. We're progressive. We're, we're leading the way with, having a united America. And the day after the election, I felt very betrayed by my country, that I thought, oh my gosh, okay, now we are not as united as I thought we were. I need to take off my rose-colored glasses of Obama and realize that there are a lot of people in this country that do not agree with me.
Right.
And that has really lit a fire for me as a woman in this country to go out and to do things and to be involved and to know who my Congress people are, know who my state Congress people are, and know kind of what's going on, and to get more involved and really be a part of the democracy. Because when that happened, it felt like, I don't know, like a part of our democracy was going away or it could go away. So I really think being a woman now, it's really empowered me to know that I do have a voice and it does matter.
Right.
And me and other women, and not just women, but even white, straight males,
Right.
they, your voice is important. And you can use that privilege that you have to uplift other people and to support other people. And even if your opinions don't agree with mine necessarily, still knowing that you do have a voice too. You're not just, with the masses.
Right, yeah. Well, you know that you and I have pretty much agreed. That's why I wanted to have you on the show anyway, too. But we've pretty much agreed on everything. I've known you for a long time there. And, when you were talking about you felt betrayed, and I feel the same way, and I feel the same way, or felt the same way when George W. Bush was elected for the second time, because that's how I was old enough to. I was 18, it's like that's an election.
Your first vote,
right? And it's like one of those things. Like he had already, George W. Bush was demonized back in the day. Like, this is like the worst dude. This is the worst president. He's an idiot, and he's like the buffoon, and he's the one that is on Saturday Night Live being
the butt of the
satirized.
Joke. Yeah,
and I felt the same way then. The only difference is, though, is I didn't have Facebook then. I didn't have Twitter then. I didn't have this. And I just, sometimes it's kind of like what you were saying. Like, I felt betrayed, but then also, too, sometimes I feel like, the world is so big, and the only opinions that I'm hearing are of those that are my friends. Those that are in my circle, those that are like on my Google Plus circle, on my Google Plus circle. That's the only opinions.
Opinions I hear are those on 90210.
Yeah. But it's like it seems like those are the only opinions that I hear, and it's a wake up call for me. That's more like what it was. It was a wake up call where it's like as much as I thought that everyone thought like me, now I realize that I live in a country where my opinion is not the same as everybody else. And if it was shocking like it was to me and like it was to you, you got to do what you're out there doing. You got to go and find a cause, and you've got to go and you've got to let your voice be heard, because that's the only way that we're going to try to make any change.
And a lot of times, the biggest protest you can do is where you spend your money.
Right.
And we've discussed this already, as far as getting 90210 seasons to our door
on Amazon.
Oh my
gosh.
It's how you spend your money, where you spend your money is a big form of protest in America.
You got to hurt them in the pocketbook. That's the only thing that matters anyway.
In a white supremacist capitalist America, patriarchy, that is, where you spend your money. And we even talked about, okay, so what, should we still use Amazon? Should we not? Do we delete our Uber? What's going on? And information, because of social media, is coming to us so quick. By the time you delete your Uber app, Uber's already come out saying, we don't support this. And now you got to get your Uber app back again. And, it's really
the
hard
worst.
to... Yeah, I'm not going to download my Uber app again.
Oh, my goodness. No. Download it twice. There goes my data plan, everybody. That's it.
Right, yeah. Thanks, Cricket.
Thanks, Cricket Wireless. Thanks, TrackPhone. Jeez. But, I don't know. I just really commend you. I commend, I don't know, just everyone out there that is using their voice for something. And in a small way, that's kind of what I want to bring to this podcast is just, I had you on here for a reason because, I agree too. As a host, I kind of have to play devil's advocate, or I kind of have to whatever. But
be neutral. And
in this certain scenario, I don't feel like, I just feel like there's so much I don't want to see us lose as a country. And there's so many attitudes and there's so many thoughts and feelings that I don't want us to start feeling about our fellow man, because it's kind of one of those things, where you see it online and it's like, these people are being oppressed and that's a horrible thing. We should kill these oppressors, or like we should do some radical thing. I'm like, come on, guys, we don't need to start like like hurting those that are we need to just really try to educate and somehow figure out a nonviolent way of getting on the same page, working towards the same goal, having the same vision, and just trying to come together, even if it's with I mean even the smallest thing. I think where every person, what they can do is, if you see something, say something, and not in a 9/11 terrorist kind of way. I mean, in a,
You're in Panera in line waiting for your.
I would never be at Panera Bread. Okay, guys, I'm just going to go off on a tangent right here. Don't mean to take away from it.
You only do the drive-through.
But the thing about Panera Bread is I don't want to pay all that money for soup. I can get soup at home.
Dude,
for dirt
Panera
cheap.
is the bomb. And they sent me free bagels this month. If you join the rewards program.
You know what a bagel is to
Join
me?
the Panera rewards program.
It's a stale, bland donut.
It's really good.
Okay,
And you get
I'm
a
not
free
interested.
bagel
I'm not
1 month, every day of
You
the
could
month.
not pay me to eat a bagel.
Okay. All right. So you're not at Panera. You're in somewhere else. I don't know. I only go to Panera,
you are at
apparently.
Qdoba.
Yeah, you're at Qdoba, and you're in line, and you hear someone talking, and you hear a subtle, albeit subtle, racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, sexist, whatever type of remark that you hear. It takes me back to the grand old day of the J.C. Penney racist grandma here that made world news, apparently. That it really hurt me that no one said anything.
Yeah, no one did anything. No
one did anything, and
they just filmed it. That's what kills me too.
Yeah, you film it to upload it and get 1,000. Yeah, and that's it. But you didn't say anything. That really disappointed me a lot. That even here in Louisville, that no one will stand up and say something. I will. I'll be the person in Panera that'll be like, "Don't you talk to that Panera worker like that."
And I'll be the person at Qdoba that says that.
Yeah, you'll be at Qdoba and you're like, "Don't say that." But if you see something, say something, and don't let subtle microaggressions of racism or sexism or homophobia or I'm not really sure what tangent the J.C. Penney lady went on. She went on like 4 different tangents about those ladies. But stand up and say something, even if it's just like nobody cares. Just shut up. Get a blog. I don't know what you need to tell her, but don't let those people say those things because they are definitely not being silent, and us being silent it doesn't do any good for anyone.
I agree. And I've kind of come to the conclusion, I'm kind of insightful, but it seems like the people that don't have things are the ones that are most concerned about it. And that's just kind of in general. And what I mean by that is the person that doesn't have to be on welfare is the person that is most concerned about those that are on welfare. Mm-hmm. And the people that can afford awesome health care are the ones that are most concerned about people getting free health care. Mm-hmm. And the people that are, not going to be having children are the ones that are most concerned about reproductive rights. Mm-hmm.
Or the people that have a lot of children are not concerned with people that maybe don't want to have children.
Yeah, that's true. It's always like that. It's never like you'll never hear somebody be like, "Man, I'm dirt poor," and well, I mean, maybe you'll hear somebody say that, but it was like, "Yeah, I'm dirt poor, and I'm never gonna take any assistance from anybody ever."
Yeah, and you know what? That's okay. That's fine. You don't have to, because I understand this country is built on a lot of pride,
right? And
everyone loves to pride themselves on pulling them up by their bootstraps and working hard and living the American dream. And that's, that is the American dream, is working your way to the top. But now the inequality is so large that, being poor in America is already really shameful because we don't put any type of premium on being poor at all. Like it is absolutely you will be poor, but you have an iPhone and you have nice things because you don't want to be poor. No one wants to look poor. And those people that are maybe lower income in America, I mean, okay, I don't know anybody that's upper class, okay? If you're my friend on Facebook, you're not upper class, okay? Because I don't know anybody that went to boarding school. I don't know any of the Trumps or the Koch brothers or any of those people. Like, you're going to be middle class or lower class. And, it's already shameful being poor, and to put an even extra amount of shame on those people for taking assistance when sometimes you really do need it.
Yeah.
And why... I just it blows my mind that you would not like somebody because they don't have the capability of making as much money as you do.
And also too, it just comes down to, I don't know, maybe it's the way people are, but me personally, if I were eating, which I tend to do from time to time,
too.
If you've seen me,
we ate together recently.
We did eat together recently, but if we were to be eating and a friend of ours was like, "Hey man, I'm I'm really low on money. Could you spot me? Like, or, you know, even if you just see somebody out, and they can't afford it. Like, as a person, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've paid my own way, but I also have excess to where I can help somebody else out too.
Yeah.
And spread, you know, I mean,
why do you feel like that's a bad thing to do?
And my thing is too, is like, what are you going to do with all this money? Because eventually you're just going to die.
Yeah,
and then
you can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you. Your kids can do something with it, but what, you know, for me, that's not going to, it doesn't seem like that's going to be like.
There's eventually a cap of amount of money
Yeah.
that you have that no one can use. And I'm not trying to say that, you know, no one should work for anything or anything like that. You know, what people try to say. No, I'm not saying that. But there are people that, you know, need a little help sometimes. And, you know, as the great Joe Cocker once said, you know, you get by with a little help from your friends.
Yeah, Joe Cocker said that. I heard the Beatles said that too, actually. His version was not on the theme song for Wonder Years. Yeah.
Sweatshirt earlier.
A sweatshirt?
Yeah, the sweatshirt that old Evan had on earlier.
Oh, yes. So. Sorry, yeah. My roommate was wearing a Wonder Years
yeah,
sweatshirt.
so it made me think of that.
Yes. And the Beatles, if you're out there, if you're listening, we apologize for not giving you the proper props on that.
Well, in my mind, I was thinking more along the lines of the Wonder Years, so I'm sorry. I should have said this is the great Wonder Years theme song.
The thing is, I think Ringo will forgive us this time.
All right.
I reference a lot of Beatles on the show. This is probably the third or fourth time I've referenced the Beatles on a podcast.
We're probably
going to
reference
be like
them
the seventh or
again
eighth
later
podcast.
on in the show. So
yeah,
it's fine.
probably.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, this episode, it's not going to have a musical break. All right? So sorry about that. I don't have a song here. But what I do have is something special cooked up for you guys. It is a carefully crafted Valentine's Day playlist on Spotify. It's from myself. It's from Alyssa. We have been scouring a back catalog over 50 years.
Yes.
To find the most fantastic.
You don't have enough life to even listen to all the songs on this playlist. We had to edit it
This
down.
is razor sharp. It is so dialed in. It's a lethal weapon. Guys, it's the perfect Valentine's Day gift. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link to said Spotify playlist.
That'd be great.
So that way you can
with your loved ones.
You get. You know what? You take your loved one out somewhere special.
You know what? Even if you're single, you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love this.
It's gonna take you back to being in that Ford Windstar.
Being in the Ford Windstar, guys. I'm gonna tell you this.
Leaving Target's parking lot when you're 9 years old.
When you're 9 years old. Okay, guys. If you're curious what the heck that meant, my most vivid Valentine's Day memory of all time. I was like 9 years old. I went to Target. My mother said, you can pick out whatever you want. So, of course, I got a bag of Hershey's Kisses because as a fat kid, I loved candy.
Dude, everybody loves Hershey's Kisses.
Grease on VHS.
Grease on VHS.
And then got into the green Ford Windstar. You know, just
rocking
probably
and rolling and whatnot.
Probably just got done eating a scrumptious Don Pablo dinner. And Tony Braxton's
and
Unbreak My Heart.
Chi-Chi's.
Tony Braxton's Unbreak My Heart comes on the stereo and it's raining out. And like literally that's like the most vivid, one of the most vivid memories of my childhood. So
I love that story. It's
great.
I don't
what a
have
great Valentine's Day story.
I don't have any memories from my childhood because I kind of blocked them all out. So when you asked me if I had any great childhood Valentine's Day memories, no, I don't.
No Valentine's Day memories at all?
I mean, I have a great Valentine's Day memory from, I think it was it 2008?
2008, 9 years ago.
Yeah, it was February 2008. What was the apartment complex?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Gush. Oh my gosh. French Quarter.
French Quarter, yes.
French Quarters, Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Yes. So
setting the scene.
Setting the scene. Okay.
Okay.
It
French
was a
Quarter.
snowy February.
It was a snowy
We're
February.
in the French Quarters, not the actual one, but the one in Jeffersonville, Indiana. It was an apartment complex.
Okay. I don't remember if you walk in or if I wake up or I don't know what the beginning of the story is, but it was the greatest Valentine's gift of all at that time of a yin yang.
A yin yang.
Best friend necklace.
Best friend necklace.
that you had one half of and I had the other half of.
Yes.
There was also, I believe, a diary that was involved that I found the other day, actually.
I can only imagine.
And it said something along the lines of, Sean, dear diary.
Dear diary.
Sean gives the best Valentine's Day presents ever, and I cannot wait to take his hand in marriage.
In marriage.
Love, Alyssa.
Yes.
It was a great.
Alyssa and I were
gift.
Valentines 9 years ago,
We were.
basically. And so that's why we've carefully crafted this Valentine's Day playlist.
Yes, it's very
And
special.
today is Valentine's Day, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. So we got to celebrate the holiday. For some people, Valentine's Day may not be very special. It may be a reminder that they're not
That they are
alone.
extremely alone in this.
And I'm sorry to those people. But I hope that this playlist can brighten your day because it's got some good tunes on there. And some of them were on the ultimate. You made a
ultimate
mix.
Valentine's Day mix. The Valentine's Day present altogether was, yes, there was a fantastically crafted playlist.
Mm-hmm.
There was a diary. Oh, what is that? Wine?
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. There was
The diary, and there was the mix.
the mix, but the ultimate Valentine's Day gift, guys. If you know what
Are
I'm
we gonna
talking
mention
about,
it? I don't
I'm
know
going
if
to just
we
bring
can-
it up. I'm not going to post a link, but if you are on YouTube and you want to see the best V-Day gift ever, there might be
A video.
a video of a large, young, with hair, Sean, lip syncing to NSYNC. With beautifully crafted
wonderful
in front of a green screen and beautifully crafted exotic locations.
and
Green
also
screen in the
very
background.
beautiful photos of Alyssa taken from Facebook from like 2007.
Taken from MySpace, probably.
MySpace, yes. Okay, at that time, it certainly was MySpace. With my MySpace profile photo just thrown in there.
Just thrown in there. Because, that is how, guys, if you're listening, that is how you make a great Valentine's Day
That's how you make your
video.
girl feel special.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to make her a video.
You know what I want to do to make not only a girl feel special, but make myself feel special one of these days? And I posted about it on social media not too long ago. And you tell me, I want you to tell me what the greatest gifts you think for him or her would be. But this is my opinion, and this does not say very much. But I think that a overly sized stuffed animal from Walgreens
Is the worst.
Would be the worst, because I just keep looking at them every year, and I'm like, man, boy, would I love to give that to someone, or maybe I would like to receive it. Maybe that's why I am so alone on
That's
Valentine's
what it is.
Day.
You just need your own large. See, to me, that would be the worst. I would not want an oversized stuffed animal because then what are you going to do with it? You know,
I proudly display it 365.
I would not want that at all.
You don't think so?
I would say,
love it if someone.
get me that in Reese's. Get me that. Spend the money that you spent on that on some champagne and some Reese cups, and we'll be all right. But
Well, okay. Well, if anybody is out there that wants to have me as a Valentine, there will be a large stuffed animal, possibly a gorilla, possibly a bear.
dog.
I saw a unicorn the other
Ooh.
day. So that's what you're going to get from Walgreens, because they keep stocking it.
They do.
And I'm the one. I feel like maybe every year
Every
they
year.
just bring out the same ones.
They're like, we're gonna keep
This
them
is
in the back until
Dustiest
next
stuffed
year.
animal I've ever seen.
We gotta put them out, Tom.
We gotta
They
put-
sell at least one.
This is a hot item.
Yeah,
This is a
every
hot
year.
ticket item, guys. All right, what do you think? You think Reese's and do you think what's the perfect gift for him?
Ooh.
Well, everybody, okay. What is the second best gift for him?
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, well, the first gift for him, I don't know if I can talk about on this show.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
what I'm saying. I really think that a sentimental gift is more special and shows that you care more than spending a lot of money. Because spending a lot of money is for Christmas. It's not
Yeah,
for Valentine's Day,
that's
and
true.
we're all broke, and we haven't got our taxes back yet. So, yeah, something sentimental, something maybe that they really, I don't know, something that is nostalgic, that maybe if you can find them a VHS tape of something that they
Of
love
Steel
from child.
Magnolias.
Steel Magnolias, yes. If you can find it at a gas station in Brooks, Kentucky,
And
buy
Rick's gonna
that.
Buy it. I feel like if you're going to buy a guy a VHS tape, Roadhouse is probably top one. Tombstone.
Angus.
Angus?
Yes.
Okay, that's a throwback. Maybe
I got
Angus
that
will
for,
do.
for a special someone for a gift one year. But yeah, it's something that means a lot to them that maybe isn't worth a whole lot of money, but that they're going to remember, I think is a better Valentine's Day gift.
Yeah, I feel like Valentine's Day, you're right. Christmas or birthday, that's a great big gift occasion, but boy, Valentine's Day.
It's about the love. It's about the sentiment.
And every kiss begins with K. And I just don't have $10K to spend on Valentine's Day, guys.
No one does.
$50 maybe.
You get me some jewelry on Valentine's Day, and I'm going to be pissed.
We're going to go to Texas Roadhouse. This is the perfect gift in my eyes.
Okay.
You go to Texas Roadhouse.
Of course.
You're going to get chicken critters.
Yeah,
or
you're
steak.
going to get the rolls.
Who knows? You're going to definitely get rolls, maybe a side salad. Who knows? And
throw
then
it on there.
You just throw it on there.
Go wild.
It's Valentine's Day, and you're with the one you love. So make sure that they get with ranch, even if they want. And you go to Texas
wouldn't
Roadhouse.
get it with ranch?
I'm just saying. And then maybe you go see a movie or something. I don't know.
That's sweet.
Everything that it's like. For me, it's just like we're gonna watch a movie and then we're gonna eat.
Yeah, that's the goal, Sean. That is like the life.
That just puts the old in like 30-year-old. No.
Yeah, I mean,
but you know what? I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I do have great dance moves, but who goes out dancing anymore? I feel like that's just something that's on TV.
Yeah, no one actually. Well, we also
or for professional dancers.
Yeah, we don't have any arena for dancing here except for Play Dance Club
and the Electric Cowboy.
And
that's for line dancing. Oh my.
I didn't know the Electric Cowboy was even still around.
Know if that's true. They might not be still around.
We don't have O'Malley's Corner anymore.
That's true.
We don't have Oasis. Is that what it was? The
Oasis. I saw
Club
a lot of
Villa Fontana.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, Club Villa Fontana.
B96.
It used to be Tsunamis. Do you remember that? It's Club Tsunamis.
Yeah.
But yes, I saw actually a few bands, and I think
I saw you guys play.
I was gonna say we played with Amherst. There at Club Oasis.
Yes.
And that was a whole
lifetime ago.
Whoa.
Oh.
That just happened. Guys, if you're listening, sometimes we even finish each other's
sandwiches.
Zing. Zoinks, guys. This podcast has taken a strange turn. But so, yeah, it is Valentine's Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there listening. I hope that you have a very fun and safe holiday. And, guys, if you're listening, go ahead and go to Walgreens and
get that oversized teddy bear.
While you're looking at the assorted candies.
Who am I to say? Like I said earlier, I don't speak for all women.
That's true.
Some women may want that teddy bear. You get that.
What if it's a gorilla?
Or the gorilla.
What
or
if it's
the
a unicorn?
Get it.
There's one for it.
You don't know until you try.
That's true. What do you think about Valentine's Day in general? Do you think it's just like hoopla?
I mean, I hate to be one of those people.
Right.
But I feel like if you really cherish and love your person throughout the year, then you don't need Valentine's Day to show it. But for some people, it may be very special to them. And I don't want to denounce those people from having that special holiday that they really love.
That's true.
But no, for me, I'm really like, let's get a red box. Let's do it in like any other day, really. Maybe a good card. Get a little heartfelt card. I like a good Hallmark moment.
I love a good card because
I like to display them. I display them for like a month, and then the next season happens, and then I have a new card.
I typically, boy, do I love a good card, especially one that's really sentimental. Shout out to all my friends and family that have given me cards, especially around the Yuletide season.
Yes.
I keep them too, and oddly enough, they always end up in the glove compartment of my car. So I have probably 5 years worth of holiday cards.
I have a full cedar chest of cards from 10 plus years of birthday, holiday. I love to keep them.
Do you remember when you could go to Target or Walmart and
they would print?
Yes, you could customize your own card with your own custom photos.
Yep.
Put your text on there.
And it would draw it for you.
It would draw it. Yeah, it had like those printers.
Yeah.
And it would print it out. And it was always a big deal. But sometimes I've seen it done before. I remember being a kid. Maybe I've done it before. You didn't have to pay for it until you got to the register. So I have sampled a little bit. I'm like, oh, let's see what this machine is. I've never seen a machine like this. So maybe I have had a card printed, watched it print, which is half the fun.
Oh, yeah, you have to stand
And
there.
then-
Did you ever really get a card if you didn't watch it being printed?
Yeah, that's true. And then, yeah, basically I have enjoyed watching it being printed, but I didn't pay for it.
That's okay.
Plenty
of people did.
There was a garbage can actually for scrap paper. I think that's where that card went.
Right.
It was probably my 9-year-old. It was probably during the Unbreak My Heart Tony Braxton experience that happened.
And you put some dirty words on that card. Don't act like you didn't, because we all typed it in.
When you were in school, what Valentines did you ever get? Because everybody had to get. That was the key thing about Valentine's Day for me. Is like I had to get the perfect Valentine's Day card. And then if there was a babe in class, I had to set aside the one
For
like kind of romantic Valentine. You know, I'm like, she's going to get that one. The one that's like, be mine. I'm like, oh, okay.
ooh,
I actually found some Valentines when I was moving from my childhood home. And I've kept them over the past few years, but they were Doug Valentines.
Ooh.
Nickelodeon's Doug, not even Disney's Doug.
no, Disney's does.
So,
Please. No.
Yeah, like the best one was like, it said, "Will you be my peanutty buddy?" Which is the
Aw.
name of the ice cream that he always got.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which Valentines did you get?
I definitely got Power Rangers. I know at some point because I was a super
Classic.
Power Ranger kid.
Which one was your favorite?
I was the Red Ranger. I was like
The Green Ranger to me
Progressive.
was always the coolest Ranger.
the Green Ranger was really cool.
In
I
Angel
had
Grove.
the sword that you played.
Tommy's flute sword?
Yeah, the flute sword. I had one of those. I had a life-size cardboard cutout of Jason. Met him at a car show, the Carl Casper Auto Show, in 1994 or 5. I was really into Power Rangers for a while.
You know, he's making the Comic-Con scene, so you can meet him again this year if you want.
I might and be like, remember when I was
Remember
5?
when you were at Carl Casper's and I
was 5?
I think we had a moment.
Yeah.
I think we had a moment there, Jason.
Yeah, I definitely had Power Rangers.
Austin St. John.
Yes.
Dude, I just pulled that one out of the old
Whoa.
encyclopedia.
Yeah, that was good.
So, Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I definitely had Doug, and I feel like WWE was like such a big thing. I don't even know if they had WWF at that time.
Right, of
I
course.
don't even know if they even had WWF Valentines. They definitely do now. I almost bought some last year, but then I was like, what are you going to do as a grown man with all these
You can't
WWE
really
Valentines?
Mail them
Like-
out. You can give them to your coworkers, maybe.
Yeah, like I
That's
would love
weird.
to give,
Strangers.
my 48-year-old cubicle partner at work, like, dude, here's a fucking Valentine of Randy Orton.
Yeah.
It's like, be my Valentine
Yeah.
or I'll RKU.
Yeah.
RKO
Oh,
you out of
yeah.
nowhere. Or something like that,
Yeah.
Like hustle, loyalty, and respect, Valentine,
Mm-hmm.
John Cena.
You can't.
You can't see
See
that.
me.
That's the thing. If they had John
Yeah.
Cena Valentines only,
You can't. So. Oh, I bet the Bella twins would have some good Valentines though.
Dude.
Like the Diva Valentines would probably be really good.
I told a story about how I met the Bella twins at Comic-Con, and I said it also to my friend Autumn, who does fitness modeling, because we were talking about Lou Ferrigno being at this Comic-Con.
Right,
And I
yeah.
was like, yeah, Lou Ferrigno's on this Comic-Con, but I didn't pay to meet Lou Ferrigno, probably one of her heroes. I stayed in line for hours and met the Bella twins.
I would have
Totally worth it. And guess what? Guess what day that I met them on?
Valentine's Day.
Day.
Oh,
And it's come full circle, guys. That's how you do it.
yes.
And if you like the Bella twins as much as I do, just comment. Maybe just comment and just say, I love them too, Sean. You're not alone in this world.
Yeah, I love them too.
Who's your favorite, Brie or Nikki?
Who do you think?
I'm a Brie. I'm 100% on Team Brie.
I know, I am too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
She is-
Brie.
And she was one of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen in real life.
Yeah.
Like, because it's one thing to see somebody on TV, and then when you see them in real life, you're like, oh, you look normal. But that when I saw her, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, oh my Lanta.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. We both have a straight up love for 90s
We do.
TV. We
Yeah.
talked about 90210 earlier. And I also made a reference to Steel Magnolias, technically in the
Which
80s.
is Steel Magnolias is my favorite movie of all time. It is your favorite movie of all time.
It is definitely.
It is-
Would you say, guys? I'm not trying to sound like Tombstone, Blade Runner, Roadhouse, but I do.
trash. No.
I do love rom-com. Growing up in a house full of women, it's like I can just quote Steel Magnolias with the best of them.
Yeah, with me, which is the best of them,
That's
if I had
true.
to say so. Yeah, Steel Magnolias is a movie that I saw as a kid that stuck with me, and I just loved the dynamic of the ensemble cast, because at certain points you want to be Clary, certain times you want to be Truvy, you want to be Malin, you want to be all the characters except for Weezer, but even then you want to be her a little bit.
My favorite character.
Yeah,
and
yeah, you do want to
I
be her
grew
a
up
little
to
bit
be
too.
her.
Yeah,
I think
we all do, because when
the
you
best
grow
character.
up, you're like, I mean, I'm just a Southern woman, and we grow tomatoes, and that's
wear
it.
big hats.
And
Did she say something like that? Wear big hats.
we wear big
Nailed
hats.
it.
We grow tomatoes, and we don't know why. We just do it.
We just do it.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the other? Just because now we're in Valentine's Day, now we're talking about movies.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good rom-com
Ooh.
for you? Or what's your
well,
go-to rom-com?
My go-to rom-com is definitely How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days,
That's a good one.
because the Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson dynamic in that movie is really good. How does one get by on being a freelance writer, and then I don't know. It's very.
How does one get by just being a freelance writer? Freelance writers out there, why don't you go ahead and just
Please email me.
The world needs to know
let
this,
me know how you get by in New York City, nonetheless.
Oh my gosh, can you
and
imagine
affording that?
I like it too when you do watch movies where somebody
They have a great apartment in New
Yeah.
York, and they're like, well, even in like Sex and the City, she has this awesome apartment, but yet once again, freelance writer.
Yeah. Or imagine being on Friends, like Monica's
Oh, you're a
apartment
waitress.
is ballin'. Now she's a chef, granted, but yeah.
She did say it was rent controlled. It
That's
was
true.
Nana's apartment.
Do you ever wonder though, like when you watch Friends, how just I don't know partners. I don't know if apartments in New York are
They're never that big.
like this.
No, never.
Of course, yeah. I've never seen one that big. But have you noticed just how completely different, even though it's just right across the hall, Monica's apartment is to Chandler and Joey's apartment?
Yeah, that's
Like-
totally. And Ross's apartment even too is right across the street.
Yeah. I
They're
feel
not-
like, okay, maybe a different building. The apartment's going to be somewhat different, obviously. But Monica's apartment is just baller status, and Joey and Chandler's is just like
They have like
normal
two
apartment.
rooms, and yeah, it's a regular apartment.
I could see that being a New York apartment.
Oh yeah.
Like, totally believable.
Yeah, but smaller. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really not gonna be that big.
Chandler, what do you do for a living? Transponster.
That's not even a word.
It's not even a word. Some of my favorite rom-coms, probably my favorite. I was thinking about that today because I wanted to bring up what your favorite ones were, especially because tis the season. The Wedding Singer is my favorite.
Ooh, The Wedding Singer is very good.
Just from a musical background, it's got a rockin' soundtrack.
It really
I love the
does.
80s, as we just discussed. Soundtrack is fantastic, but that
The
scene
whole
where Billy...
Linda.
Oh man, you're a bitch. But when he sings,
With a white shirt and button.
well, you were licking the microphone like David Lee Roth. When he plays a song for her on the airplane, and the look that
Aw.
she has on her face whenever she knows it's Robbie Hart, I was like, that is a powerful moment in cinema,
It really is.
and it's my fave.
That's a good
One
one.
of my favorite. I would say my favorite Adam Sandler movie. One of my fave Drew Barrymore movies, also.
Speaking of weddings, I really like The Wedding Date, which
I
is
don't-
another good
The
rom-com.
Wedding Date.
It's Deborah Messing and Dermot Mulroney,
Oh,
not
okay.
to be confused with Dylan McDermott.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know which one's which now that I think about it. Dermot Mulroney is
Dermot Mulroney
He's
has
in
the
Young Guns.
scar.
he's in My Best Friend's
He's
Wedding.
My Best Friend's wedding.
Gotcha.
Right. Speaking of other wedding,
Yes, there you go.
pick any movie with wedding in the title. It's my fave. Love it.
I saw My Best Friend's Wedding with one of my best friends, my sister, when I was a kid.
Oh, that's
I don't know how we ended up in the movie theater watching that movie with her. Like, I got to tag along with her and her friend, but
that was a good one.
I wasn't prepared, I don't think, for like 9 or 10 years old. I'm like, I didn't quite get it. But now that I'm an adult,
Cameron Diaz doing karaoke. That always broke my heart in that movie because that's me doing karaoke. And somehow the crowd will just rally behind me at the end when they're just like, can we get this girl off the stage, please? Yeah.
you know what is another may I say chick flick, but just a great movie that I grew up on was A League of Their Own. And I feel like anybody can appreciate that movie.
It used to be our playground.
Yeah. When that song plays in the ending credits, spoiler alert, guys, it makes me a little
It plays in the beginning and it makes me cry too.
I know. The thing is, A League of Their Own has,
it has Rosie, it has Madonna.
It has older people in it.
Yep.
So immediately I'm just like, oh, this is going to be sad.
Oh, I'm going to
And then they're reflecting back onto a simpler time.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the 40s. It's WW2 era.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is in it. Women's Baseball League. They're defying the odds, overcoming
family dynamics.
Family dynamics. And Tom Hanks, it's understated in it, but Tom Hanks really, I think, loved
Gina Davis,
the Queen of Diamonds.
He
Dottie
really
Hinson.
did. And he knew he didn't have a chance. She was married. She was in love. But he still supported her, and there was this unrequited.
They don't ever say anything, but just to give my opinion about it, they always have a friendly relationship throughout the movie, mentor or they kind of look up to each other. But the one scene that makes me think that he was just genuinely in love with her, never said anything, was earlier in the movie. She says, "You look like shit. Don't you ever shave?" And then randomly at the end of the movie, for the only time in the movie you see him, he shaved his face.
Yeah.
To say bye to her. And I was like, yeah, he loved her.
Yeah, he did.
Subtle.
He really did. That was a good one. Always wanted to be Madonna in that movie, though. I mean, as a girl,
my bosoms fall out.
Yeah, you think there's anybody that hasn't seen your bosoms? Yeah, you want to be, but also, it's so sad. It's such a sad
the movie. Is if there's one
Marla
movie,
Hooch and her dad.
Marla Hooch.
A lot of night games.
Oh my god.
So good.
I gotta look at another girl. I'm gonna go home, grab a shower and a shave, give the wife a little pickle tickle, and I'll be on my way.
Oh.
Cowgirls, you see the grass? Don't eat it.
See, the way it works is the train moves, not the station.
Not the station. John Lovitz. Shout out to John Lovitz in the 90s. The biggest asshole of all time. So great.
Defined our childhood.
If there's any one movie that I wish would have ended differently, boy, would it have been A League of Their Own. Spoilers, if you have not seen A League of Their Own, guys, just pause this podcast right now.
Please.
Reevaluate your life. Reevaluate your life. Good Lord. This
I think it's on Netflix. It's on like every streaming. If you haven't seen A League of Their Own. Guys,
if you haven't seen it, go to Amazon.com. You're going to want to pick it up in one form or fashion. But pause the podcast right now, and then I'm just going to talk about the end of A League of Their Own. And spoiler alert, it came out, almost 30 years ago.
1994.
So it came out quite a long time ago. But boy, if there's one movie that I wish had ended differently, it is that movie. Like every time I secretly watch it, and I'm like, well, what if she doesn't drop the ball this time? But it's never going to happen, obviously. That's the dumbest thing. Do you ever just watch movies and you just wish they were different?
Yeah, of course. But not that one. I'm glad she drops the ball in that one because she lets her sister kind of have a little bit of glory.
Passing the torch.
I like that because you have a sister.
I do.
You're the younger child.
I am.
So you're the kid. Being the older child,
yes.
I'm the oldest sibling. So when you're that older sibling, sometimes you got to let that younger sibling just like have that moment, because
and there's her kid, sister, kid.
This is our daughter, Dottie. This is our other daughter, Dottie's sister. That's sometimes how it feels. So you got to let her have the spotlight there.
Well,
and it was 92.
1992.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you've heard it first. 1992. So here we are 25 years later. We're still talking about it. Penny Marshall, you made a great movie. Filmed in Indiana.
Marshall.
Yeah, Gary Marshall's in it. Do you want a peanut? What do you mean? Which is a great exchange in that movie. If you go back, watch it. I just love all the dumb little things.
Yeah,
so
it's great. We got to kind of get off on a tangent there.
All right, guys.
We knew this was going to happen.
Now you're going to know everything that you need to know about Valentine's Day. What some of the sickest movies are going to be that you're going to want to sit down and watch with your loved one. Guys, pay attention, okay? Because women love A League of Their Own. I love A League of Their Own. You're going to want to watch it. But yeah, now to just kind of wrap everything up, get everything going full circle here. We've talked about a lot of things, but to get back to the important stuff, do you have any links, anything that you can share, anything regarding just how people can get involved, get active in their community or causes that they can support to just
Definitely, yeah.
let their voice be heard.
If you're looking for local things to get involved with, if you just go to louisvilleky.gov, there's a get involved link you can click on as far as volunteer opportunities that are available in and around the Louisville metro area. There's also the Fairness campaign. The fairness.org is where you can go, and they specifically look more to LGBT rights, but also just equal rights for all. I would consider going there and donating if possible. And even if you can't get out and get involved in anything, like you have kids, you have a job, we understand like everybody has things that constrict them to not being able to go out and get involved in every rally or protest or event that happens. But you can donate your money if you have $5. If you can not get Qdoba or Panera, you can donate $5 to maybe the ACLU or the Southern Poverty Law Center or the Fairness Campaign or Planned Parenthood, all of which you can find at plannedparenthood.org or fairness.org or splcenter.org or aclu.org.
And I'll post all those links too. So everybody that wants to get involved, especially locally, and I know I got plenty of listeners that aren't even in the Louisville area. So just do a little research, find something in your area, find a good cause, find something local, act locally, think globally. Or did I get that wrong?
That's right. Yeah.
Nailed it. Nailed it, guys. All right. Well, Alyssa, I thank you so much for joining us here today. But I'm going to allow you to hit me with a very inspirational quote to just wrap this thing up.
All right. This is from my idol, my own personal Jesus, who is RuPaul Andre Charles. The quote of my life being, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here?
That's perfect. I love RuPaul.
Don't we all?
And you're the second guest that also loves RuPaul. So shout out to K-Day for loving RuPaul too. Woo. That was a great quote. Well, it's an excellent show. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And
thanks for having me.
Guys, if you like what you heard, please get involved. Find a local cause. Find something that you can do to get active, get your voice out there. And if you liked what you heard as far as the show goes, of course, you can like my Facebook stuff and subscribe, and I'm on iTunes and I'm on Stitcher and all that sort of thing. All the mandatory things that I've got to talk about. You know, the podcasts are just going to be on Friendster, and it's going to be LiveJournal and all that sort of thing. So hit me up on Tinder and Facebook and all that sort of thing. It's going to be a lonely Valentine's Day, guys. All right, well, I thank you so much for tuning in. Alyssa, thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much.